You're listening to the Shit You Can't Make Up podcast, a conversation with friends, hosted by Marisol Sanchez.
Hola. It's Hola y'all. I'm not sure if this is Hola y'all, but we're having fun. And so welcome. Thanks for listening. I'm Beth and this is Marisol, and we're going to be talking about
my personal life.
Marisol's personal life, and which is always interesting.
It's an interesting story.
I thought we were going to be talking about like the Golden Globes or like our New Year's resolutions, although I don't really have any, but
we can
or
end
something
with that
like that.
I have some recommendations.
Okay, well, maybe talk about like what we're watching or reading or loving. Okay.
But I want to start out with, one of the things about us doing a podcast separate and Marisol's podcast is you and I have a lot of similarities, and we have not differences with negative connotation, but I'm divorced. You've been married 25 years this year.
25 years this year.
I'm dating. You're not.
Are you dating your husband? I'm definitely not dating.
And so I wanted to talk about dating because I am a 42-year-old confused woman and post-divorce. I'm going to reference a couple of things. I want to tell the story of Dan Savage because he's someone that we both listen to as a podcaster.
He's a great podcast.
And he has this, you could YouTube it, video where he discusses the price of admission in the realm of dating. Like, you describe it better.
Well, he says the price of admission, everybody has a price of admission to be with that person, and it can be a friend or a boyfriend or somebody you're dating, or like even like family members, and it's like what you're willing to pay to be with that person. And sometimes the price of admission is just too high, and so you're not going to be with that person, and sometimes it's something you're willing to pay.
Yeah. I would suggest watching him say it. He does it very articulately, and but I use that as in the dating world, like what's the price I'm willing to pay to date someone. So I've been divorced. I don't even know how many years. I'm bad with numbers and dates, facts.
Well, it's funny because I just got today on Facebook when I was looking at this morning. It was a memory from 4 years ago today, and it was you and I at the Book of Mormon in New York.
Well, we have to know about Book of Mormon at the end.
So
that was 4 years ago.
That was 4 years ago today, and so that was sort of the beginning of the end. So you've been divorced, what? I don't know, 3 years.
So separated. Yeah. 4, because the separation was after that.
Separated right after that.
I might be wrong on the date.
I think you are.
But I've been single. It feels like I've been single for years to me. I have 3 children, and so almost all of my important decisions in life, I go to my kids. Not go to them. Literally go to,
but make them with them in mind.
Every decision I make is with them in mind, and it certainly is good for me. I don't introduce them to people I date. This is one of the questions I have: is that a good thing necessarily? I've done all the reading. I know that you shouldn't introduce someone. The debate is between 6 months and a year to your children because they get emotionally attached. They are watching everything, and unless you're willing to say that relationship is one that you want them to replicate,
right?
You don't want them to see that relationship. So that's a good guideline for me. I had one boyfriend for a year and a half, and it was his name was, we're nicknamed Sven. Sven.
His code name.
Code name. And the second question I had was, when I started dating him, when I dated before marriage, there's no Facebook, there's no Tinder, there's no smartphones. I'm really I have a foot. Yeah, I have a foot in this old way of dating. That's how I was taught. That's how I was conditioned. That's the story I was told. You meet someone, you don't sleep with them for 3 days, 3 dates, and then you're dating, and you're on the path to forever. That's how I feel I was conditioned for relationships, and I don't know if that's a true story or not, because now I'm 42, post-divorce with 3 children, and I'm like, the price of admission is very high for me, it seems like, to enter a relationship. Am I saying it correctly, or is it low? High?
I think the price of admission is high. Like there's not going to be a lot of people that you're going to enter a relationship with.
Yeah.
Right. Is that what you're
basically
saying? Yes.
Like I can't.
Yeah. So it's high. The price of admission is high.
My children are teenagers. 2 of them are teenagers. One's going to be 10. As of right now, I don't see a situation where, I could have gentlemen sleeping overnight. And I know other people do, and I'm not judging them. Everyone, is in different circumstances. So I keep that very separate.
Yeah.
From my kids. Which leads me to the first date I had with Sven. I got a phone call from a few friends who heard I was going out with him to warn me of his history. I still went out with him. I heard everything they said, and I'm a big believer in redemption. I'm a big believer that we're all flawed, and I was going to judge him based on how he treated me, not on the gossip.
Right, I remember that.
Even though the gossip was all true, he admitted to it.
Right.
That's what made me want to go out with him, that he was very vulnerable and shared all that with me. So we had a great relationship, a bit tumultuous at times. I'm going to insert right here, this is an explicit episode, so if you were related to me, stop. We had a great, great relationship. I was not ready for long-term, forever.
Right.
I
think the thing about Sven is that, he came on the scene really fast after you were separated, after you got divorced.
Yeah.
I don't know if you think that, but, I remember thinking, wow, you thought he was a really great guy, and so I just thought that, it was really fast to get really serious.
And I think I resisted.
Yeah.
Because I remember I resisted the title. I still resist the title girlfriend. I hate it. I'm not 12. You're not my boyfriend. But that's where I'm at now. I'm, struggling with what it looks like. And I think what I want to talk to you about is because I feel dating now is very non-traditional for me. It looks nothing like I just described how dating was when we date.
Right.
Dating now in my experience, it involves the internet, it involves smartphones.
Texting.
A lot of texting, a lot of people from the past trying to find out who you are. I don't feel like I stalk people, like a Facebook stalk, and I'm not judging people that do. Eventually, I might go and look on a person's Facebook's. But I think this is just a theory, I don't know if it's true, but I think 20-year-olds maybe do. That's just part of it. They go back and look at who they're dating's ex,
right, and then they look at all their Instagram feed and all of that a lot.
Yeah, I don't feel like that was around, not just the technology, but that level of knowing about someone's past wasn't available to us. And I think that leads to a lot of drama.
Yes.
But I don't know. I don't know if this is a theory. I think that, or maybe I'm just attracted to drama. I don't know. There is I would say some people in my book club suggest that my life is very dramatic at times, and I don't know if I bring that in, or if
Right. We were talking about, like, are you the common denominator of the drama, or are you just attracting the drama, or is everybody dramatic?
Or is that
like,
dating nowadays?
It's one of the three.
So with Sven, I
can see it going either way.
Well, it started out, dramatic that way. Ended up having a relationship that, fuck it. So it was, many stories can come out of that relationship. And it ended dramatically. We're still friends. It's all good. Took almost a year to not date. I left that relationship and I was like, this is just,
right.
I can't give my heart. It was like, I still need to work on myself. Went out with a lot of people, but I didn't emotionally involved with anyone. Went to India, and when I returned from India, I realized that I miss companionship. I miss that one person, that morning text, that evening text, who I go to when
just sort of somebody to be there.
And then I didn't want to do the online thing anymore. I didn't want to. So I started dating. What's our code name for him?
Well, I called him Daryl, but I think that's
fits.
Okay.
So Daryl came on the scene in November, in my scene, and I met him. It was glorious, and I was going with a female friend to see a movie, and I like to meet people. I've learned to meet them very quickly, not to get into like a texting relationship, to then meet them and be physically disappointed.
Right, or like to realize you don't have anything when sometimes you're face to face.
Yeah, it's very, it's very easy to get emotionally involved with someone in text and then meet them in person and not be physically attracted to them. And to me, physical attraction is, important. Does that make me a bad person?
No, I think that it's important to everybody.
Okay, so
it's not just you, Marisol.
Yeah. So I met him, Daryl, and we connected, very quickly. I told you. I mean, we had like and we still do, long hours of conversation, great conversation.
I went like very quick, 0 to 60.
Very quick.
To like,
it was like a John Hughes movie.
Yes.
I was like, all in. I was Molly Ringwald. That's exactly what it felt like. Very early in the relationship, I start to get texts from a friend of his. And I don't know how to describe it. I don't know if to describe it as... I wasn't stalkerish at all. I felt like she was trying to let me know.
I think she was reaching in. She was reaching into your relationship with him and just sort of letting you know of her existence. And like, I read the text and they were all very, it was so easy to read what she was trying to say, and she was just trying to mess it up.
If you're a man and you read it, you're like, what?
Yeah, it was,
But it got crazy.
And then it quickly ramped up to crazy from there. A lot of alcohol involved. And
with me?
No, with her.
There was alcohol involved and some texting.
A lot of texting
and just drama. Just trying to...
Well, like she, or, even when you first started going out, I think she, told him some...
The first night he came over at my house, and we had met a few times, I think, and she sent a text, which is my introduction to her. I hadn't really heard of her, didn't know her, couldn't, and it's a small town, 100,000 people, but we've been here 16 years.
Yeah.
We're both around the same age group.
Yeah.
And she sent him a text when he told her who he was dating. That was really harsh, really slut-shaming me.
Did the text come when you were together?
Yeah, he was here. We were cooking dinner. Yeah, we were cooking dinner.
I think that's that's definitely reaching in. That's trying to reach into your air quote date. He's over here hanging out, and she's reaching in, trying to be here with you. Which
no, it's more than that. She was fucking putting me down. Yeah,
and trying to
she basically said,
"Don't be divisive."
Yeah, don't. I've heard this was. I'm paraphrasing, but it was something like, "Don't sleep with her because blah blah blah." I heard this and that and the other. And, I'm perfectly comfortable talking sex.
Yeah.
You know that. Anyone who's been friends with me in a car
Oh,
ride with
yeah,
me
we
longer than an
know.
hour, I can hear the conversation.
Yeah, we know.
I'm just interested in the topic. I have, I feel no shame. I feel like I am selective. Everyone that I have relationships with people, but I'm okay with short-term relationships. I'm okay with like the people I dated in 2015. It wasn't, I'm not a bar hopper. I'm in bed by 9:30.
Yeah.
I'm like the oldest 42-year-old I know. I have very limited time to date. I date on Wednesday nights and every other weekend. I don't get a babysitter when I have my kid.
Right.
I don't have that lifestyle.
Right. So she was like basically she was texting him things that weren't even true, but just trying to.
But it still hurt my feelings. It was still drama. I wasn't getting the reaction from him that I thought was deserved of the moment. But that might be my historical stuff coming up. Anyway, that was example one. There was like two other women, I would say, that kind of were circling around too. Because we were just dating. Like it's, we just met. It was, but I think they could sense that he was coming off the market.
Yeah.
And like get flurries, and they were checking out my Facebook stuff, the podcast, my web, it got weird for me. It got weird. It was like high drama. It was a high drama in my social life. And that's eventually what kind of ended the dating. Like, we're still friends. I don't know what the future holds for us, but I was like, okay,
Well, and I think it's part of the story, just to say what ended it, and of course I know more of the story, but it was just a lot of crazy. Mm-hmm. It was just
and I didn't even end it after that last crazy.
Right.
You're talking, because that last crazy happened, the crazy we're talking about right now, that's crazy number one, right?
Right.
Which was the most intense of the crazy. But that happened before the holidays. And he and I we broke it off around that time, but then he came around on Christmas when I was very depressed. And we had a great time. He watched Frozen,
Pride and
Prejudice with me. And I do think he's a good guy. I think but he has all these crazy, I don't want to say the word, around him. So I ended it. And so what I wanted to talk to you about is I'm kind of at this point where I'm not sure if, and you might not have the answer. So
I'm sure I don't, but
I just kind of feel like I think I have to reconfigure what I think relationships look like. I don't think the traditional relationship, your traditional, me being non-traditional, is going to work for me. I've tried it. I've tried it multiple times, and I have 100% failure rate at traditional relationships. And I am the common denominator. And I'm not putting myself down. I honestly, even in this state of depression, like hangover, I still think I'm an awesome catch. Like, that was born from, my...
Right. And you are.
Yeah.
So, well, what does that mean? You're just not...
I think that because I have kids, and I don't want to mix... I have no absolute desire to ever blend a family.
Yeah.
Unless they're like college age, where they can all have conversations, intellectually stimulating conversations, and know how to behave. At this stage, we've read that book, Sibling Rivalry. Mm-hmm. I don't need any more sibling rivalry to add into the drama. So and my kids the older two are 14. But then on the flip side, it makes me sad because I think, do they have an example of a healthy relation? That's really important to me, and I don't know that they have that. I don't know if I can give that to them, honestly. Because as of right now, I can't, and I don't know if that's mommy's fault or the pool of single men in Wilmington, North Carolina. But I just think that I might have to look at relationships differently, which is maybe they're short term. Maybe they only last a few months. Maybe I just, and when they need more, when the partner I'm with needs more of a structured one long-term relationship, that's the end of it. Right?
There it is, yeah.
And, but I don't know, that seems sad and depressing too. So I don't know. I don't know that, you're looking at me like...
I'm not sure exactly what the question is.
I know. I just...
Are you asking for, like, permission for that?
No, does that sound normal and sane?
Yeah. I think so.
It's kind of hard to step outside, the way we were raised and the ideas.
Well, I think that, like, if you ask, like, any married woman well, I'm going to hugely stereotype, but, like, if you ask any friend of ours who's been married a long time, when they wanted to get to, like, if they were going to get divorced, what would they see for themselves? I don't think anybody would say, I'd want to be in another long-term monogamous relationship. Really? I want to get married again.
You think so? I don't know. See, I don't know. Like, I feel like the divorced women I encounter want that. They go
well, maybe that's just sort of like a grass is greener kind of thing.
They go two different routes. They either want that stability, and that's complicated. And I don't mean to sound judgmental at all, but they want to jump into a relationship very quickly, and a lot of that I think has to do with security, and necessity and desire. Divorce is hard, especially if you have kids, and being a single mom is hard. I don't have those needs. Like, I don't need a man to take care of me financially. There's one person out there who might be listening to this and giving me the finger right now. Except right there. But I don't need that.
Only for 5 years. So what do you want? Like, if you could have the perfect world, what would you want?
Have that magical wand?
Yeah.
I do think I want a tradition. I would like to fall in love, and I'd love to have a partner that I felt worthy enough to include in my life with my kids.
Right. And that's only happened.
That sounds really harsh.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened.
So that's the price of admission. They they have to be, your relationship has to be good enough, and they have to be a great enough of a person to
have their shit together.
Not be a train wreck, so that, like, they can be a part of your kid's life in a positive way. And so I think that's just a tall bar at this stage.
So I'm going to die alone.
You're not going to die alone, but I think that will happen. But I just think you've had, a couple of weird experiences.
Am I attracted to the weird drama guys?
I don't know. Are you? Like, I was actually really, when you were telling me some of the things about this Daryl, and then there's not that many, like, great guys out there, like, that there's, I was really impressed that you actually broke up with him because there's, you really liked him a lot, and, he was a lot of fun, but, like, the red flags around him were just waving everywhere, and it would have been, like, really easy just to, like, just count them, but
the red flags came, the way I described it, they came out and started dancing together. They held each other's hand and got in a circle and started dancing.
But it would have been easy to ignore them because it wasn't anything about, like, the relationship between you two, but anyway. And so with Sven, like, when you look back on it,
on Sven,
like, do you wish that you had, like, never met him?
Oh, no.
So then...
No, not at all. Everyone, even my ex-husband with the, divorce and everything, all of those relationships taught me something. I mean, really, like, if you can tell, I'm a bit introspective and analyze shit to death, and I look back and I look at my own patterns in those. I mean, it boils down to, I think, and I'm not trying to be sad or maudlin.
Yeah.
However you pronounce it. But I honestly feel like that being together and having a boyfriend or a lover, I mean, I could do that one well, or a spouse, I get married again, which even still makes me like, ugh, the thought of it. It's just not in the cards for me. So right now, maybe in the future, but I don't know.
So, well, I think there's your answer. Like, they all, like, even Daryl, like, taught you something.
Well, with him, I thought about what I think.
It was fun for a while.
It was fun. It was good. We're still friends.
We're still friends, and you never know what the future might hold.
I don't know what the future might hold, but yeah. I just think that it's funny because my 14-year-olds are starting. They don't either one of them don't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, but they're starting. It's like watching a foal or a baby deer or whatever you call like trying steps.
A foal, yeah. A fawn. It's a fawn. I'm sorry.
I knew I was getting it wrong, but like taking baby steps in the whole like social dating pool. And I'm like, I think I'm just gonna sit back, enjoy, and watch, and but I don't think I'm going to give them that example right now of what a relationship looks like because I wouldn't want them to
emulate that one.
Emulate that, yeah. But I do, like my daughter will tell, like she'll get in the car, she's in middle school, and she'll get in the car and she'll be, oh my God, so much drama, she'll tell me. And I've noticed a common thread is the technology, like, the Snapchat or who didn't get invited to what or blah, 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 blah. It's like, maybe it's not me. Maybe I'm not a magnet for drama. Maybe that's just the life we live in, and that's how dating now is. I don't know.
I think that like knowing everything about everybody, is just a recipe for drama.
Yeah.
I mean, we just that back in the olden days, before all that, we just didn't know like what was going on, what were people saying. People didn't know a lot of people. I mean, like now the kids, like the kids in high school, they they know everybody. We didn't know, they know everybody from every school. They're all friends with each other, and they sort of know everything that's going on with everybody. And it's just, I think, brings out a lot of like drama, and just makes it easier to be drama filled. And so this is also something that you guys might not realize, but that Marisol leaves me all the time here and just tells me to fill time while she goes and does something, like goes to the front door, or right now she's in the restroom, and she'll just like leave.
See, on my journey out of depression, I'm hydrating. That's like a tool of
and I'm like, what? Okay, all right.
We can edit.
And then she's like, yeah, and then my favorite is where you just like turn it on and like start recording. What? We're recording?
Well, I think my dating life will be ever evolving. So.
Yeah, I wish I had more answers. I don't really have any. I think you have the answers. I think you're going to have fun and just have like long, like not to quote Dan Savage, but like you're just going to have all these relationships that don't work out until one does.
And you should just enjoy them.
And you should just enjoy it. Like one day they will, and
my Prince Charming will come.
Yeah, maybe.
I have a funny Prince Charming story, and then we can end in and talk about our recommendations.
Okay.
I was in India, and we were on this beautiful river, the Ganges River view, and we were sitting on these rocks, and the person that we came to practice with was on a rock. It was very, he was talking. It was very interesting. But as we were settling down, this frog starts swimming. You can see the water's very clear. And a friend of mine says, "Hey, Marisol," like yells really loud. She's like, "There's your Prince Charming coming." And I was like, I actually kind of got embarrassed, like, yeah. And then, like, 20 minutes later, she fell and broke her ankle, which is not funny. But I remember thinking, oh, it's karma. Oh. But no, it's not karma. I love you, Dale. It's not what I meant. But
so did you kiss a frog? No.
I've kissed many frogs.
And with that,
okay, recommendation.
What are you listening to, reading, watching these days?
Sorry. I heard one podcast. It's not a specific show because sometimes I think there's so many shows that people to, we'll find what they want to listen to. But sometimes I listen to specific episodes and I'm like, oh, this is a really good episode.
Yeah.
This is a Joe Rogan podcast. He's one of the big podcasters. You'd have to go look for it, but he interviewed Lance Armstrong. It's like, I feel like it's a long one, like 2 hours. It was like I was doing a deep cleaning in my house.
Yeah.
No, and actually the cable guy was here, and he was listening to it too. It was really good because it was in the 90s when all that stuff happened with Lance Armstrong, and it's him talking today and looking back and it was really interesting. Very interesting. So the Joe Rogan, Lance Armstrong
That's
podcast.
Cool. All right, cool.
I would suggest that one. And then I don't know if you're on this bandwagon, but I think we're late to the murder, Making of a Murder.
Actually, yeah, I was actually that was gonna be mine, but I can't really say I'm on the bandwagon because I just watched the first episode last night.
Okay, the first one, if you haven't seen it, I strongly suggest it. This is how I've heard nothing.
I've heard people like raving about it.
And I did too, and I was confused when I watched the first one because I was like, okay, I can't do this for 10 more.
Well, I felt like they did the whole thing. Like, I'm like, the whole story is over. And okay. Well, I figured that out.
I figured it's, the way I would describe it, it's like being on a roller coaster. Like the first, second, and even third episode, you're kind of climbing up. And then by then, it's like, and it takes you. So that was my other recommendation.
Okay.
Was Making a Murder.
Well, that's good. Okay. Well, I just started watching that. And so I'm on, like I said, finished episode 1, and I thought it was great. I was ready to watch it again, but
yeah,
it's like I'm like, how is this going to be like 14 episodes when they basically tell pretty much the whole story? So, well, I think I mentioned this to you earlier, but like I've listened to a podcast I've been enjoying called The Dinner Party, and I think I came across it because it came across in some email like 10 podcasts you need to be listening to, and it's really, they break it up into like pre-dinner drinks and main course and after dinner, and like they have that one, they'll start with like a joke, and I guess it's just supposed to be like you're supposed to be able to like take some of the information they give you and go to like a dinner party and have something to talk about. So they have jokes, they have small stories. There's a section in there where a guy comes on this particular one, I can't remember his name, but he came on and he had 3 different music suggestions, like one for the beginning and one for the middle, and it's really entertaining, and so I've enjoyed it. And sometimes they have a guest, but it's good. It's worth a listen.
The Dinner Party.
And I just finished reading After You, which, did you read Me Before You?
Yeah.
Jojo Moyes.
Yeah, Jojo.
It's Jojo Moyes wrote After Me Before You, which is about a woman in London who... She's basically is the caretaker for a paraplegic, and he is wanting to be in a hope. We're not done. Almost. He wants to be like he wants to do assisted suicide, and so it's sort of that story. And it was like
it was really good.
Huge, and they've made a movie out of it.
Oh, did they?
And it's coming out in 2000. It's coming out this year, but so this is the sequel, and it was good. It was good. I give it a good solid B.
Did you read and then by any chance see? I know you like her as an author. I like her too. Emily Griffith. The Something.
Borrowed. Yes. So that's one of her old ones, Something Borrowed.
I think that's the movie. In the movie, it has Jason from The Office, Krasinski. I don't know.
Jim Krasinski and
the
Kate
girl,
Hudson.
Okay, so you've seen it?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I read the book. So if you read the book, I thought it was a good book. I thought it was a good movie. But I don't remember the movie ending the way the book. I don't remember because I read the book a while ago.
Right.
But it's 2 best friends from childhood. One is a big personality. One is more submissive in their relationship dynamic. But they love each other. But it's a toxic friendship.
Right. And so the more passive one is in love, unrequited love or silent love with her, like, law school, like, buddy. And he ends up getting engaged to her best friend.
Yeah. And then they have an affair. The shy, quiet one with her original crush that her best friend,
and then chaos ensues.
So I watched that. I was watching it, and all I kept thinking is, I just want the Jim
Krasinski.
Like, I would, if that's. I've always been attracted to that character. Like,
yeah.
I don't want this one.
The other two guys that are the romantic guys in there that they sort of end up with, spoiler alert, it's not the Jim because he's left out in the cold.
And I was like,
he's like the steady Eddie, like good guy, like
yeah. And I was like, I want the steady Eddie good guy. Like, I don't want the drama filled sleeping with the two friends guy. I want him. But yeah, that I saw that and I was like, oh, but I thought it was a good movie. And a good book. I read the book a while ago. I haven't read anything worthy of discussion. Everything I've been reading right now is like
work
related.
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get a little bit more reading done this year. It's not a New Year's resolution, but like I always start the year out strong and then end it weak. But got a lot of books in the queue.
I don't have we talked about this not on a podcast, but we talked about we don't do resolutions. Did you ever do resolutions?
I'm sure I did, yeah, but I don't really particularly remember then.
I just remember the feeling of, I remember at some points even doing 12. Like I was writing them down and posting them on my computer. I haven't had those years. And I always remember that inevitable, fuck this shit. It's not going to happen.
Forget it.
And just, so I don't do resolutions anymore. I kind of do mantras a little. I feel like sometimes there's a phrase or something that's kind of circling about.
Yeah.
It'll land and I'll meditate on it. And so that kind of came around New Year's, which was discipline, which I have not been practicing at all in any shape, way, or form.
Yeah, if I do have some lame ones, they never end up getting done. I think I've had this. It's not really a resolution. It's more of a goal, to have, my pictures organized and, digitally.
You've had that one for...
I don't know. Probably since I went to digital photography.
Before you went to digital.
Yes, and so I pretend, and I usually get a couple of little things done every year, but no.
Yeah.
No. And so now I don't even really pretend, but I've so given up what that's going to look like. But I take a lot of photos, so it just sort of, and I get really annoyed when I can't find the photos I'm looking for. So even digitally, can't find them. So I don't know. I've given up on resolutions, but. 2016 is going to be it's a big year for me because my husband and I, we are both turning 50, and we're also celebrating our 25th wedding anniversary.
Has it been 10 years since you both turned 40?
Yes.
It
has been. So,
because I didn't go to your 40th.
Because you had Lola.
Well, yeah, no, she's in the
hospital.
Yeah, she had surgery, and I remember you coming to visit.
Yeah.
And I was it was a surprise party.
Yes.
And it was the night of the surprise party, and I didn't know if you knew.
I did not.
That you were soon to be.
I had no. That was the only time I think I've ever really been super surprised. Yeah. And so I told my husband and my friends, no surprise parties. But so big, so I'm just sort of looking forward to, my son is graduating from high school. We'll be going to college this year. So 2016 is going to be a fun, year. And instead of resolutions, I'm just sort of
enjoying it.
I'm just going to look forward to enjoying the year and everything that it brings, and basically trying to fit in everything that's going to go along with all those things into a busy year. So yeah.
I'm looking forward to. My kids will be in high school next year. They'll be in at least two of them. Hopefully, will be at the same school. I have 3 kids at 4 different schools. One of them goes to. That's why I listen to so many podcasts, because I'm in the car a lot.
Yeah, that's what I started listening, because I had 3 kids at 3 schools for 2 years. No, I don't anymore. They're three kids at two schools, but like and then the older one drives. So my driving it's amazing the difference that like a couple of years can make.
I'm in the thick of it.
You're in the thick of it, especially the whole drive, like the time in the car. It's just
I had a funny mom moment. I could end it on that.
Yeah.
And you get a kick out of it. So it's cold today, right? It's 35, 45 this morning.
Yeah. For us, it's cold.
For us in South, it's cold, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful
not
day.
A cloud in the sky.
So I have to drop off my son first, the way it works. And my girls are getting ready while I'm dropping him off. And then, they're 10 and 14. I expect them to brush their teeth, brush their hair,
get
dressed, and that's how I've raised them to come to the car. And so they did. And my little one comes out. She's 9. She's going to be 10 next month. Super cute. She's wearing one of those toboggans that looks like an animal polka dot multicolored that goes all the way down her arms so she can put her hands in.
Yeah,
I just wanted,
cute. Yeah,
I just wanted to eat her up. She came out looking so cute in the big white polar, polar style looking jacket. I'm like, check, appropriately dressed child, driving to school, driving to take her halfway to her school. She takes off the jacket because the car got warm, and she's wearing a spaghetti strap shirt. I was like, it was just one of those mom moments where it's like the whole decision-making process was, Lola, it is winter. Why did you think this was, and then it was like, do I go back? And then I'm like, if I go back, the second one's going to be late. Where she goes to school, she gets late. It becomes a huge mess because then they call you and they think it's truancy. Then, my ex will text me, there's something wrong. And it's just so, and then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? That's natural consequence will be,
she had her coat, so when she's outside, she'll be warm. But it's not really appropriately.
It's not appropriately dressed. But the mom issue was, it's never, my fear isn't my child, I don't think she's going to get hypothermia.
Yeah.
My thing is, what are all those teachers and other mothers?
They're going to think, look how her mother let her leave the house.
Yes! So, for anyone who saw my daughter today, I just want you to know.
You were not aware until halfway to school, and you made a decision based on the information you had to keep on going. Well, this has been fun. Another fun podcast, and hopefully more to come in the new year.
Well, thank you for listening.
Yeah.
So, adios.
Adios.
How do y'all say goodbye?
Bye, y'all. Bye, y'all.